Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another franchise ranking thing. This time, guys, I'm going to be ranking a trilogy today, and this trilogy is going to be a trilogy by Pixar, and this trilogy, guys, is none other than Cars. So yeah, so guys, so as I expect, I'm going to be ranking all three films of a trilogy, and this is going to be from best to worst in my personal opinion, guys. So if you guys don't agree, that's absolutely fine, but please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. So yeah. So my opinion is that, in my opinion, this franchise only works as one movie, and we'll get to why. So, yeah. Anyway, so, starting with rankings. So, starting in first place, guys, my favourite Cars movie is most definitely the first one, Cars, released in 2006 and directed by John Lasseter and Joe Ranft. So, yeah, as the co-director. This was unfortunately, I think, one of his final things he worked on before he died, because he died previously in 2005, so rest in peace, Joe Ranft. So, yeah. Also, good quality movie, guys. So this is definitely my favourite movie, and this is these reasons why. So, in my opinion, it has very strong voice acting by the cast. For example, I love Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen. This is definitely my favourite role of Owen Wilson. Really strong voice acting from him, in my opinion. I think Lightning McQueen's development in this movie is definitely one of the big highlights of the movie, because I love how he starts off as a character who is so obsessed with winning a race. And then eventually he goes from being that character to being someone who instead decides there's more to life than racing. So yeah, I do love that, yeah, where he changes from thinking there's more to life than winning races. So yeah. And the biggest victory is the people and friends who he meets on the ride. So yeah. I also as well loved the late Paul Newman, rest in peace, as Doc Hudson. Doc Hudson was one of my favourite characters in the movie. He was very entertaining, very likeable character. And I like how he plays that role of a mentor to Lightning McQueen. And yeah, and he's one of the factors which makes him change character. I do love that. And yeah, this was, I believe, his final role before he died. So rest in peace, Paul Newman. And yeah, and yeah, definitely this is my favourite role of Paul Newman, because I've not seen anything he's in besides this movie and the third movie, of course. So yeah, this is probably my favourite role. I also did love George Carlin as Fillmore. He was also very great in his role. Even though he didn't really have much lines, he was actually really great in the role. And I also did love Bonnie Hunt as Sally. This is probably my favourite role of Bonnie Hunt, definitely, because I thought she was a great character. I do like her in other roles too, but I think this is probably my favourite role of her. And I also like Larry the Cable Guy's Mater. Mater, in my opinion, is pretty great comic relief. He's entertaining in this movie, and yeah. This is probably the movie I like him the most in, guys, so yeah. And he was a great comic relief in this movie. And also the great Michael Keaton as the villain called Chick Hicks. Pretty entertaining villain in my opinion. I liked him, but yeah. When it comes to Michael Keaton's collaboration with Pixar, I like him way more as Ken in Toy Story 3, my favorite anime movie of all time. But yeah, he was, however, really good as Chick Hicks. Really good. Even though my favorite role is always be Batman, but yeah. Nonetheless, he was really good as Chick Hicks, and yeah. I also thought the movie has really good animation, considering this is 2006, and yeah. It was very good how they did animation in this movie. This is 2006, guys, and they did such a great job. And when I watched the movie, because I watched the movie last year, guys, it definitely held up really well, in my opinion. And I also, really love the music composed by the great Randy Newman. He did really great music. I loved his music in this, and yeah. But of course, guys, I do prefer his music in Toy Story way more. But he still did really great music in this movie, in my opinion. And yeah. And I mentioned before about the story. I do love the story, guys. It's really fun and entertaining to watch, and yeah, and the world building is really great, how they built all these different places, and yeah, really good. The characters are very likable characters as well, pretty good. And also, guys, in my opinion, this movie gave perfect closure at the end, because it did not do any sequel baiting, nor setting up any sequels in any form or fashion, and yeah. And in my opinion, guys, this movie is the only film of the franchise. So yeah, because I don't really like the sequels that much, but yeah. Nevertheless, though, it's still really a good movie, this movie, and it works perfectly as a standalone movie, in my opinion. And also, as well, the credits are also really funny, because they show Cars versions of other Pixar franchises, which is pretty awesome. For example, they show a scene from Toy Story, which is pretty cool. And yeah, and several others as well. It's very entertaining. And we even got the actors from the movies to reprise their roles in their cameos. Like, for example, they got Tom Hanks as Woody, and even Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear, which is pretty awesome. I do love that. And of course, they also make a joke about John Ratzenberger being in lots of Pixar movies by having Mac, his character in this movie, recognise his voice in movies like as Ham, for example, in Toy Story. And yeah, John Ratzenberger was definitely very good as Mac. He didn't very much screen time as him. He was still entertaining as always in this movie, really great in the role. And yeah. However, there is, however, unfortunately some bad qualities, I will say, guys, of a movie. So it's not like a perfect movie by any form of fashion, but it's still my favourite out of this trilogy. And so the bad qualities I could say is that I feel that Chick Hicks, despite a great performance of Michael Keaton, was quite underused in very much screen time, despite a great performance by Michael Keaton. And yeah, very disappointed in very much screen time, but he's still my favourite villain in the franchise nonetheless. And also, there's also a bit of a plot hole where basically he does cheat in the movie, but the race officials did not disqualify him, so the officials didn't disqualify him at all, despite him cheating. So yeah, disappointing. And yeah, and also the idea of cars being every single thing in the world is also confusing because they don't have any hands, guys. How did they build the world? It's quite confusing, isn't it? Really, how everyone's a car, But yeah. I can let that slide, though, guys, because it's definitely my favourite movie out of the trilogy. And, guys, I would rank this movie a definite 8 out of 10. Very good movie. And, yeah, and in my opinion, it did not need any sequels at all. So, yeah. And it's probably like a major example in live animated territory when it comes to movies that didn't need sequels. However, that being said, on to what is my second favourite, we go on to what is the third movie of the franchise, which is Cars 3, released in 2017 and directed by Brian Fee in his directorial debut. So, yeah. Now, this movie, in my opinion, is pretty good, guys, but still an unnecessary sequel because there are some things I don't like about a movie, which we'll get to, so yeah. However, it does have good qualities, which makes it a good movie. So, for example, once again, it has great voice acting by the cast, so Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen, Lyra Kilmer as Mater, and Bonnie Hunter as Sally, and yeah. Everyone else did a good job with what we were given. I did also have the addition of Nathan Fillion as Sterling. He was also entertaining as Sterling. I did like his character. He was very fun to watch, and yeah. And also, what's also great is Randy Newman returned to composing music because he didn't do it for the second movie, which were all my bad qualities with it. And yeah. And so I'm glad he returned for this to score the music because, in my opinion, he is the true Cars composer. And yeah. Also, in my opinion, the animation is also way better because one of the bad qualities I have with 2 is the animation is not as good. But in this movie, they definitely really improved it. And also, as well, the music, like I said before, is amazing. And I do like the story. Like, in my opinion, guys, this movie, what may be unnecessary, is the true Cars 2. So, yeah. And also, guys, I do also love how it includes a nice little bit of a tribute to Paul Newman because he passed away. They do include Doc Hudson, guys, in flashbacks because the second movie had to do something very bad to Doc Hudson by killing him off. But in this movie, however, they do actually have him appear in flashbacks, and they use unused dialogue that Paul Newman recorded for the first movie in the flashbacks. And that, in my opinion, was very creative. I did like how they did that. It was very nice how they included that. It was really good how they used the unused recordings like that. It was very creative how they did the script as well to make it look as though the lines fit into a story. They did a very great job with it, in my opinion. And yeah. And however, on to bad quality of the movie, guys. So there is probably several reasons why I prefer the first movie way more. So on to bad qualities. My biggest bad quality with the movie, guys, is I did not like the villain Jackson Storm. Yeah, and there's many reasons why I don't like him. I mean, other than that, he's just a knockoff of Lightning McQueen. Like, I just think he's an absolute dork, guys. I just can't stand him. He's such a goof, and I think he's incredibly annoying as hell. Like, he's so weak and lame. I can't stand him. Like, he's just like, he's meant to be, he's like a clone of Chick Hicks, but he looks like Lightning McQueen, and he's not even funny or as entertaining as Chick Hicks at all. He's just like an arrogant jerk, and I can't stand him. Like, whenever he appeared on screen, guys, he just really annoyed me. I could not stand him. Like, Sterling, in my opinion, was way better than him. Because, Sterling's plan actually had an impact on the plot because, thankfully, Jackson doesn't have much screen time, but Sterling does. And Sterling's plan made much better sense, in my opinion. Because it was a much better threat to Lightning McQueen. And also, guys, yes, I am fully aware that Jackson Storm is voiced by Armie Hammer, and that's who I do hate. And the thing is, guys, I already lost respect for him before I saw this movie because he said people should not mourn the loss of Stan Lee when he died. He lost my respect because he said that. And also because recently, guys, I hate him even more because of allegations of him assaulting someone else for being a cannibal. So yeah, and as a result, he got dropped out a lot of agencies and many projects he was going to be in. So yeah, he lost my respect, and I'll never ever, like him ever again at all. Yeah, I lost respect for him. And yeah, and that doesn't even help really now because Jackson's still an annoying character, a very weak villain. And speaking of chick hits, guys, he is in a movie, but he's not voiced by Michael Keaton. He's instead voiced by Bob Peterson. And in my opinion, he was definitely a weaker choice compared to Michael Keaton for chick hits. Like, I did not like the replacement, in my opinion. It was so weak in comparison. I mean, apparently Michael Keaton did not return because he was busy making Spider-Man Homecoming playing with Vulture. But, still, I wish they just, waited till he was available on his schedule to reprise his role, I also didn't like the absence of Miriam's here, like McQueen's fans as well. So, yeah. But, guys, thankfully, however, this movie tries its very best to ignore the previous movie. And, yeah, I really appreciate that. And, guys, if you want to give this movie out of 10, well, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. So, yeah. May not be as great as the first movie, but it's still a good movie, and in my opinion, the only true sequel to a first film if I was to consider having a sequel, because in my opinion, Cars only works as one movie. And, that being said, that leads on to what is most definitely in last place for me, and it is none other than Cars 2! Oh my god. This movie, guys, is easily, in my opinion, the worst Pixar movie I've ever seen. Like, oh my god, right? It was so bad. Like, a major disappointment compared to the first movie. Like, oh my god, it was so bad. Like, considering we had many great Pixar movies before this, like Toy Story 3, for example, and like, many others before, like, this was a massive disappointment. Oh my god. But yeah, so I'm going to try my very best to get through good qualities of a movie directed by John Lasseter, but there isn't very much. Okay, so I guess probably the voice actor by our cast is good with the direction they're given, but it's not really saying much. And also the music is composed by Michael Giacchino. While I do prefer Randy Newman's score by far, his music was okay, in my opinion. But now, on to the bad qualities. So, the first thing that I absolutely hate about this movie is, like, it's a massive deviation from the first movie. Like, it barely feels like a Cars movie at all. Like, so for example, what we do, guys, is, compared to the first movie where they made Lightning McQueen the main character, they make Mater the main character, so it feels more like a Mater spin-off than an actual sequel to the first movie. And that's stupid because, like, I mean, I do like him as comic relief, but I don't want him to be a main character. No! Like, what the hell did they do with this? And yeah. And also, guys, because they also underused Lightning McQueen, he doesn't very much screen time. Neither of the other characters were studying for the first movie, which was a very dumb move. And not to mention, that basically means that the poster is incredibly misleading because it shows Lightning McQueen on the front of a poster, and but yeah, he's not even focused on it. They focus more on Mater. So that was a very dumb move, how they completely underused Lightning McQueen. Big mistake. Not to mention, the plot is also just a dumb knockoff of James Bond as well. It's basically just a James Bond movie, but with Cars characters. And that's just ridiculous. Like, I'm not here for a James Bond movie. I'm here for a Cars movie. Oh my god. Hated that. I mean, if you guys like that idea, good for you. But for me personally, I hate that. So, yeah. And also, what is also ridiculous, guys, is for a movie that's rated G in the United States of America and Universal in the UK, they made the movie pretty dark. Like, why did they do that? Like, this is supposed to be a movie that's aimed at children. Like, there's so many dark things. Like, for example, there's a scene where a character called Rod Redline gets tortured and destroyed by Professor Z. Or you'll get to him in a moment. And yeah, that was a very disturbing scene in my opinion. I hated that. Like, it exploded and incinerated him. Like, this is not for kids. And we also see Leland Turbo getting crushed into a cube. Oh my god, that was disturbing. Like, that was just absolutely brutal. Like, what did he do? Like, if we're going to, killing, because movies have killed people in Pixar, do it off screen. Don't show it. Because you probably traumatize lots of little kids who are watching this movie. Oh my god. And yeah, on to the villain called Professor Z or Professor Zundap. I really do not like the character, guys. He's probably, in my opinion, the worst card villain of all time because he was so weak and lame and, ridiculous. Like, just a Bond villain knockoff, and yeah. And, like, Thomas Kretschmann, I didn't really like his voice work. I prefer Thomas Kretschmann way more as Eli Damascus in Blade 2, and yeah. And also as Baron Strucker in Avengers Age of Ultron and Winter Soldier's post-credit scene. But yeah, as Professor Z, I did not like him at all. Oh my god. Like, the character was an absolute waste. And yeah. When it comes to new characters, guys, we also introduced a new character called Finn Missile, who is voiced by Sir Michael Caine. And yeah, he's also just a James Bond knockoff because his car is an Aston Martin like James Bond's car. And oh my god, right? Despite Michael Caine doing a very good job voicing him, I did not like the character. The character really got on my nerves, and yeah. Not to mention, guys, he's also incredibly stupid. Because, right, he thinks Mater is going to be, his partner, working with him as part of the mission. But the thing is, right, Mater is constantly saying to him that he's not a spy. Saying it multiple times, and they don't listen to him. Like, a Finn Missile and his sidekick called Holly Shiftwell, really that stupid? Like, oh my god. And also, Finn Missile also insults Mater later, which was also stupid. Like, I'm thinking, come on, do you dare insult Mater like that? Like, this movie, in my opinion, ruined Mater. Like, he should have stayed as comic relief, not as a main character, because in my opinion, he doesn't fit as a main character. He only works as comic relief, in my opinion. And also, guys, is it me, or is animation a lot weaker than it is in the first movie? Because, like, in my opinion, the animation got a lot worse. Like, it didn't look anywhere near as stunning as the first movie or the third movie. Like, there was many shots where it was pretty blurry and choppy. Like, I didn't like that at all. Like, why were they so lazy with animation with this? It's just ridiculous. Like, they were just so dumb, really. I also didn't like a character called Francesco. I can't remember what his surname is. I think it's Bernoulli or something like that. Francesco Bernoulli, voiced by John Turturro. Like, oh my god, he also really annoyed me. Probably his worst role, in my opinion. Like, it makes his role as Simmons in Transformers way more tolerable, in my opinion. And yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Batman movie as Carmine Falcone. But yeah, I did not like him as Francesco at all. And yeah. But yeah, this movie was just so terrible, in my opinion. I absolutely hate it. Like, and also, guys, compared to the first movie where I had a really fun time watching it and laughing, this movie, I was just like, this watching a movie. Because I was so bored and confused as hell. Like, I did not smile once in the movie, guys. I did not smile at all. Because it was so boring, convoluted, and just ridiculous. Not even, a good movie at all. Absolutely terrible. In my opinion, the worst Pixar movie of all time. And also, as well as Lightning McQueen, they also underused the other characters who returned from the first movie. Like, they really underused Sally a lot, which was disappointing. I hated that. Although it was a really dumb movie, in my opinion, how they wasted her. I absolutely hated it. And also, I also think the movie also died, guys, when it was revealed that Doc Hudson died off screen. Like, that, in my opinion, was very disrespectful to the late Paul Newman. How they killed off his character off screen. Like, are you having a laugh? Like, really? I mean, I don't get it, because in Cars 3, they used unused recordings. So why do they do it in this? That is so dumb. And also, not only that, but the character called Red is also silent due to Joe Ramp dying. So, like, why didn't they just use unused dialogue for him as well? It's ridiculous. Like, I hated that. And this movie was boring. So boring, guys. Like, I nearly fell asleep watching the movie. Or, like, when I was watching it, I'd even go on my phone several times watching it because I was so bored. Like, this was just a complete waste of time, guys. I absolutely hated it. And yeah. Like, just an absolute complete waste of my time, guys. I'm never going to get the time back at all. And yeah, just screw this movie. And yeah, I like to pretend this movie doesn't exist. And thankfully, Cars 3 does that in a way, because it barely acknowledges it at all. And yeah, so, as far as I'm concerned, guys, Cars is only the first movie. Yeah. Everything else is just unnecessary, especially this movie. My God. But yeah. Anyway, guys, so yeah, I'm pretty much done with this franchise ranking, because yeah. Because honestly, I can't stand and talk about Cars 2. It's one of those ones that I hate talking about. In my opinion, it's the worst one. So yeah. If I was to rank it out of 10, guys, because of the voice acting, I guess being good given from the actors, and also the music by Michael Giacchino, I give this movie a 2 out of 10. Worst Pixar movie of all time, in my opinion. I absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. So, guys, this is me doing my ranking of the Cars movies from best to worst. So, first place would be Cars, the first movie. Second place would be Cars 3. And last place, and definitely in least place, Cars 2. So, yeah. So, you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to comment how you guys would rank the Cars movies, you guys would rank them. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can join me or click the description, and I'll see you all later.